It's a big year for the 2023 first-round picks. Who's on notice? Who's showing out? We're going to break it all down for you here today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins.
Joe, happy hump day to you. Happy post first day of Bills Hard Knock season to you.
Pretty soft start, you know?
Yeah. Have to imagine we're going to ramp up here a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Lighthearted, wholesome start. We didn't even get James. We got more Thurman Thomas than James Cook last night.
Speaking of veterans, do you know any veteran players that are part of like the fellowship coaching program with the Bills this year? I found out who, like Mike McDaniel name dropped, or no, Anthony Weaver name dropped the Dolphins player, and it took me back. And I didn't know if you knew who that player was for you.
I don't, so I can't answer that, but I am fascinated to learn who your player is.
Adalius Thomas.
Oh, man. Different kind of cat, man. Different kind of cat. Played a million years, dude.
Right. And he was talking about, Anthony Weaver was talking about Zach Sealer, and he's like, I see some parallels with him and our coaching ship fellow who's here, it's Adalius Thomas, who was a late day 3 pick and kind of honed his craft and earned everything that he got and earned this premier role eventually as he developed as a player and did stuff the right way. And I was like, man, I had not thought about Adalius Thomas for a minute, but he was a darn good football player when he was at his peak.
He might have overlapped with Sealer in Baltimore. Not to take us down a rabbit hole. I mean, it could have been the case.
I don't think so. Let's find out.
Was there so long, man. So long.
Adalius Thomas, I think he overlapped with Anthony Weaver.
When you said that, I think that's actually part of who I meant to say is Anthony Weaver.
So Weaver played, or Adalius Thomas played in Baltimore from 2000 to 2006, was a first-team All-Pro his last year in Baltimore, and then played 3 years in New England from 07 to 09.
All right. So I'm a little off on that, but
Draft Dudes do math.
Yeah.
That's fine.
All right.
No worries.
Adalius Thomas to start the show, but we are talking about the 2023 first round. It's a very important year for these players. They're all staring at the possibility of the 5th-year option being picked up, and just kind of glancing through it in preparing for this conversation. There's some really successful selections, and there are some that have a lot to prove this year. So our objective is to kind of work through it and talk about the big storylines so far coming out of this draft class.
That's right. So let's we're gonna start with the top 10. And the top 10 in this class was Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, Anthony Richardson, Devin Witherspoon, Paris Johnson, Tyree Wilson, Bijan Robinson, Jalen Carter, Darnell Wright. If this isn't the good old quarterback versus everything else debate, I don't know what is, because Houston got their quarterback situation right, but Carolina has questions. Indianapolis has questions. And unless you were the Las Vegas Raiders, if you picked in the 10 and didn't get a quarterback, there's some pretty good returns here for these players. I think that's the big storyline is Will Anderson, Devin Witherspoon, Paris Johnson, Bijan Robinson, Jalen Carter, all at least made one Pro Bowl. Darnell Wright moving in the right direction. Tyree Wilson, we'll see.
Well, I mean, like you mentioned, the Texans got things figured out with Stroud, and my goodness, Stroud Anderson, talk about setting your franchise forward. But, Bryce Young certainly finished last year strong and has inspired a lot of hope for what he can be this year. But I think this is kind of the year where it's make or break, right? It's year 3. I think we're going to find out what the real truth is. And if he sustains that level of play and builds, I think Carolina is going to be in good shape. But I want to see it sustained. I'm pretty curious. Obviously, they've brought in some new weapons around him, and I like Dave Canales as the coach that can get the most out of him. But it's a big year to find out the truth of Bryce Young this year. And of course, we'll never forget what they gave up to get this pick. And so there's a lot riding on that one.
How well does Bryce Young have to play for you to say 5th-year option? I'm locking it in. It's such a weird balance of a lot of different things that we talk about on this program, right? With like team building perspective, cap management, opportunity cost, inflexible cap commitment, fully guaranteed, the quarterback market becoming what it's becoming, having faith in allowing players to develop in time and being invested in them. But like kind of the downside to the 5th-year option is if you have an uninspiring start, you kind of have this major decision that you have to make. You might not have to make when it's all said and done.
Obviously, the season will play out and we'll feel however we feel. You want to continue to see the growth. You want to believe that Bryce Young is your answer. And I don't know, if he builds off of the way he finished last year, I think you'll feel pretty good about picking up that option. But you don't want to come out of this year feeling like there's severe limitations that are going to really make it difficult to be a playoff contending type team. If that's what you see, then I think you got to let it play out. And if you like what you see in year 4, then you get the deal done. I think you got to be really convinced to pick that up because you're locking yourself into some hard cap, and down the line for a player that would be a problem if he wasn't living up to that.
Didn't the Packers skip the 5th-year option and do like a 2-year deal for Jordan Love? Am I remembering that correctly?
I think so. And that was a unique circumstance because he was stepping into that role and hadn't really had an opportunity to truly prove who he was.
Right.
I think they kind of handled that the right way too.
So it was a 1-year extension with 13.5 guaranteed that can be up to 22.5, and the 5th-year option price would have been 20.27. So, and then obviously he parlayed that into the long contract extension. That might be something that would be in the back of my mind with Carolina and Bryce Young. Like, depending on how this year goes, if you see incremental growth, but like the team doesn't have the breakout and you still have questions, and you got he obviously has Adam Thielen, but a lot of young around him offensively. They got almost $100 million rolled into the offensive line, so you feel good about that piece of it. I would not be afraid to get creative with Carolina as far as how to handle and potentially avoid such a stone cold black and white yes or no decision. Depending on how now if he balls out, it takes all the questions out of it, and then you lock him in. You don't think twice about it.
Anthony Richardson, big year for him, obviously competing with Daniel Jones. It feels like there's some good momentum. What I love about the Colts situation is that they have isolated the variable. I think the O-line, the skill players are what they need to be to understand who Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson are. And it feels like there's some positivity with Anthony Richardson, although he has a ton to prove.
Yeah. And I feel bad looking at Paris Johnson I'm on the Wikipedia page and not seeing his name like in the yellow box because he's become a very good player.
Yeah. Some good tackles in the NFC, man. To get those Pro Bowls.
But how many, here's my next question. How many of these guys, whether it's next summer or at a different point in time, in the top 10, and there's half of the top 10's made Pro Bowls, who has market reset contracts out of this?
Ooh, that's fun.
CJ, do that after the break?
Yeah, let's do CJ Stroud. We'll do the rest after the break. Folks, be sure to stick with us. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football is back. Fire up the group chat. Get your draft board ready and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, busts, and all the overreactions we live for. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy. I'm playing on Yahoo Fantasy like I do every year, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or you're a veteran that's making your 1 millionth league. I love how smooth the draft day experience is. It's easy to set up, and the mobile app is awesome. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped the Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues. It's a killer new way to play Yahoo Fantasy football where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's one team left standing. With the season right around the corner, now is the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. If you're more into the classics, you can still play in head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL.
All right. Who does Will Anderson reset the market?
Boy. So Parsons
Probably
is going to
not.
get somewhere in the low 40s, right?
I would assume. I would assume Mike is going to set a contract that's a bridge too far gone. Now, if Houston is smart, they'll probably slot him in between. If he lands between what, Danielle Hunter got 35.6, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, was that like a tick more than Crosby at 35
just a
and a
touch
half?
over Crosby, right? Like I'd put him right above that, but with 2 years remaining on the rookie contract, obviously it's more years to space out all that new money, and then the actual annual average is significantly lower. So I don't think Will Anderson does.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Maybe that inspires him to play it out another year and be like, okay,
right,
I can do this. Or you can just take your really handsome dollar amount and just be happy with it. But
it's the importance of getting the right people too, right?
Yeah.
Like, and every player has every right to maximize their earnings potential. But like, if Houston comes to the table with 37 and Will's like, nah,
right.
I don't want 110 guaranteed over the next 3 years on a 5-year, $185 million contract, right? Like hypothetically, I'd be like, fella, it's a pretty good offer, man. Like,
Yeah.
felt like that could have been, we could have had nice contract there and had some flexibility.
Well, that Derek Stingley's getting paid. We talked about Bryce Young as a reset guy. Anderson's going to get the bag. Collins, they got a nice steal on Nico Collins. That's going to be helpful.
Yes.
For how this all unfolds. But they've got some expensive cornerstones.
You know where they're not expensive? On the offensive line.
Yeah. Well, Cam Robinson 1 year 12. I think we could have done without that. But
all right. Anthony Richardson not gonna reset the market.
No.
Devin Witherspoon, outstanding football player.
In the slot,
I think his position usage is going to be leveraged against him, and he's not going to push the $30 million mark that you saw Stingley and Sauce go for.
But we did see both the Bills with Taron Johnson and the Bears with Kyler Gordon take their victory lap on the highest paid slot corner. So I think if we look at it through that lens, he will be the highest paid slot corner in NFL.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Paris Johnson has a chance. Because that right now is Rashawn Slater at 28 and a half. 28 and a half. We're going to push for 30 here sooner rather than later, especially these offensive tackles are looking at corners are getting 30.
Yeah.
Edge guys are getting 40. Quarterbacks are getting 60. Wide receivers have passed offensive tackles. I think
ESPN money coming into the league.
I think there's going to be some offensive tackle, and Paris Johnson I think has a good argument for it, especially because the rest of that offensive line in Arizona, like where are their dollar investments?
No big ones, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Tyree Wilson, probably not.
Oh, yeah.
No. Bijan, it's not Bijan, it's Bijan. I don't know if you saw that. It was another
every freaking offseason we get one of these, right?
It's like, hey, by the way.
Right. No, we've been doing this for like the last 6 years, but can we just go ahead and change it? Okay, that'll be tough.
And Bijan is a Draft Dudes alumni, and we have a lot of love for Bijan. I also got the Dijon mustard.
Is it Dijon or is it Dijon?
Well, right. Does it still work if it's Bijan instead of Bijan?
Dijon.
I guess.
Bijan Dijon. I don't know. Was the mustard good?
It was good. I ate it. I probably shouldn't have, but I did eat it. I think he's got a chance.
21, right? That's what he'd have to do to top Saquon.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't.
And it's hard because there's such a gap. Like Saquon's so far out in front of the rest of the field.
That makes it tough. It's the CJ Mosley thing at linebacker.
Like I feel like it might be, and running back's not the position to bet on it and say, oh, I'll just wait a year, right? Like that's not really the year.
No.
It's not the position to do that for.
Right.
But I do kind of feel like we are due for a few contracts that land between the Derrick Henry money because he got 15 per on his new extension and Saquon. And so it's like CMC's, like it's just too big of a gap with those big guys and kind of the rest of the field at 12, 13, 14.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter.
Yeah. It's Chris Jones, though, at 32. That'd be a big push.
Well,
I don't think he does it.
If he's going to get it, he's going to earn it this year with the attrition that has hit Philadelphia's defensive line and the names that went out.
12 sacks, 80 pressures.
Did I see the Eagles have the NFL's least expensive defense? Did I see that correctly?
Yeah, I have a friend who's an Eagles fan who told me this the other day that Zach Bond's the only one that's not on a rookie deal.
Mm-hmm.
The only player. What?
So from that perspective, I kind of feel like Carter's going to have a decent chance.
Well, can we talk about how expensive their offense is?
Yeah.
I mean, like, pretty nuts.
Okay, Lane Johnson's 35.
Jurgens,
they tried to get rid of Dallas Goedert already, and then he took a pay cut to stay. I don't know. I think he's got an outside chance.
I don't think he tops Chris Jones. We can disagree on that.
Okay, agree to disagree. Really interesting group from 11 to 20. We'll read through it. I'll read through 11 to 21. How's that? Because 21 didn't happen. It's Skoronski, 11, Tennessee. Jahmyr Gibbs to Detroit at 12. Lucas Van Ness at 13 to Green Bay. Broderick Jones, 14 to Pittsburgh. Will McDonald to the Jets at 15. Emmanuel Forbes, out of here. Washington. Christian Gonzalez, the pick after at 17. Jack Campbell at 18 to Detroit. Kalijah Cansey at 19. Jackson Smith and Jigba at 20. And then the Miami Dolphins selection forfeited at 21.
I think Forbes is the only player that's not on their team, right? At this point.
Yes, that is factual.
When I look at this group of picks, I think about who's got a lot to prove. Lucas Van Ness feels like a big one. And the Packers defense was really good last year, but as you try to figure out how they can take a step and evolve, I think it's this guy right here and what they can get out of him as a young, talented player that you feel like there's some untapped potential. I think he's a big part of that equation. And there's other defensive linemen that we'll get to in the next segment, but I don't think much of Emmanuel Forbes. He's on the Rams now. Maybe it'll come together, but the name that kind of the sirens go off for me in this bucket is Van Ness. And I would say maybe to an extent Broderick Jones. I think that young tackle tandem between him and Fatanu with Pittsburgh is very fascinating to me. But he's at least gained a little bit of experience at this time. I feel confident that at step. I think both of those guys actually like severely under-rep players in college right now, like not super experienced coming into the NFL. And here we are entering their third season feeling like we got a lot to learn about these players. Yeah,
I think so. I think the Will McDonald situation in New York is really interesting too with the regime change. Had the big time sack production last year.
Yeah. Watch the film.
I think that's always the cautionary tale, right? Is the players who have situations that change dramatically. You obviously already saw that come to pass with Emmanuel Forbes, as you mentioned, with him being off. I think at least everybody else other than McDonald, Tennessee's had some change since 23 as far as their football operations group. The rest of this is largely stable. Jackson Smith and Jigba, but he just got the huge vote of confidence and had the production that he had last year.
Yeah. Yep.
ready to go to the back?
I
Back in
am.
the first round?
I'm looking through this and reminded of that stretch of receivers: JSN, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, all in a row. That was something else. All right, we'll talk about the back part of this first round here next, folks. Be sure to stick with us. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet ride into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. Plus, you got to check out all the football futures opportunities, whether it's the over-under on win totals for a team, stat projections for players. There's a lot of juicy bets you could check out over at FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, check it out. New customers can bet just $5, get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. So open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started.
All right. Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Deontay Banks, Dalton Kincaid, Mazi Smith, Anton Harrison, Miles Murphy, Brian Brzee, Nolan Smith, Felix Anudike-Uzoma. End of first round.
Some defensive linemen that need to tell us some things this year, right? Mazi Smith, Miles Murphy, Brian Brzee, Felix Anudike-Uzoma, and Nolan Smith. And I'll lump in Nolan Smith. I really like where he's headed, but I think the high volume snaps are coming this year in ways that they haven't been to this point. And I think all of those teams need those players to be answers. I mean, Mazi Smith and kind of the issues with Dallas and their interior in defending the run, that's what he should be able to do. Miles Murphy, we know the drama that's going on with the Bengals defense in general, especially at defensive end. They need him to be a thing. I think Brian Brzee shown something as a pass rusher, but can he be more consistent? Can he develop the run defense? Felix, I mean, they just paid George Karlaftis. They have Chris Jones. Can you be Robin, right, in this equation? Can you be a nice sidekick here and give Kansas City some return here? So I look at this crop, man, and to me, it's all about these D linemen and them fulfilling the promises of being a first rounder.
Well, and Mazi's done the weight yo-yo thing.
Yeah.
Where he's down again this year and working. I guess he's got a lingering knee thing. So these are the ones that you really, it's disheartening because there's been some overturn with the coaching staff, and you didn't really felt like they had the right kind of plan for a player like that in the first place based off what the plan was his first year for him. And you bulk him back up and then you cut him back down. It's like, all right, let's just get these two parties away from each other at this point, right? Like Dallas really needs him to be a hit, but at the same time, you don't get the warm and fuzzies or the confidence that we're on the same wavelength here from like a player and the player's needs perspective and where the player would be best served and then what the team is looking for. It's like if you wanted a disruptor, you should have just taken Brian Brzee, who went at 29 instead. Right?
Who do you feel best about? I'm going to give you three of them. Mazi Smith, Miles Murphy, Felix Anudike-Uzoma. Which one do we come out of this seat? Ooh, you feel good about that.
Yeah, because I don't feel good about the other two.
All right.
Like Mazi, I have the pit in my stomach already.
Yeah.
Just based off the vibes. And Dallas fans are over him. Like he's just become the new Taco Charlton in that one.
And I in the back of my mind this whole time I'm thinking Michigan D-line, Taco Charlton. Like the leash is short. The fuse is short.
Right. Miles, plenty of talent, right? I think it's been for Cincinnati, they've put so much pressure on themselves to draft and develop and replace expensive players with players on rookie contracts and install them in. The entire body of work that they've had the last 3 years has not been good in that regard, in my opinion. Like, what are the success stories for this strategy? Where you look at corner, you look at safety. Now they're doing it at linebacker. They're doing it on the defensive line. Where's the success story?
Crickets. Boy, you haven't done the thing that you've needed to do, and now you've got this amazing quarterback that is being limited because you haven't been able to do the thing that you needed to do.
and maybe it all snaps into place. And if that's the case, then great. But that's the question that I have with Murphy, where Kansas City, alternatively, a lot of stability. It's still the same head coach. There's been plenty of examples, whether it's in the secondary or the second level at linebacker or on the defensive line, of guys that they've developed. I mean, what just Kansas City. I don't want to take the date range back too far, but like Tershawn Wharton was a success story there, right?
Oh, dude, this is a good story to tell. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Jump right in.
How many? Ty Matthew to Justin Reed, Travarius Ward to, and Fabian, who's that? South Carolina, Fabian something, not Fabian Morrow. Whoever that Rashad Fenton, excuse me. Bye. See you later. We'll be fine with Trent McDuffie, L'Jarius Sneed.
The L'Jarius Sneed transition to
it doesn't matter.
Whoever they're going to choose to put into that spot. Right.
D4,
So I think that's why for me, Uzoma with another year under his belt is the one I feel the most confident.
Yeah, I think scheme can help him the most too. I think that Spags can create those runways, and he's certainly athletic, and create those opportunities for him to be a pressure player. It's just a matter of probably getting some more snaps, seeing what he can do. He was young, 21 years old when they drafted him. So I tend to agree with you as well.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Dalton Kincaid's going to be fine, by the way. There's my take there.
I'm not going to draft him this year, so I guarantee you he's going to be fine. Because I
it.
drafted him last year.
Yeah. Yeah, he disappointed a lot of people, and I think the hype being off of that is going to normalize this year. Curious about Deonte Banks and the Giants. They've done a lot for that defense, right? Secondary-wise, with the Debo and Holland and free agency, they should have the rush in front of it. You know, year 3, I'm excited to kind of see what he can develop into because, I mean, supremely physically gifted. So there's been some good hits, man. I think I look at this draft top to bottom, and there's always going to be some picks that you look back and say, man, that's just not working out. But you see some really high impact selections throughout this entire first round. I think it was a pretty good run here.
That's going to do it for us here today on the show. Kyle Crabbs, Joe Marino, Locked on NFL Scouting. We appreciate you guys, as always, for checking out the show. Make it a great rest of your day. We'll be back again tomorrow. More NFL talk coming your way. Preseason games right around the corner. We hope to see you tomorrow.